Lights down. Sound up. And just like that, we're entering the world of K-pop, where not just teenage girls, but guys, yes, guys, are secretly, or not so secretly, obsessed. But we're not talking about your usual fandom behavior. We're talking about something way deeper. Imitation, fashion mimicry, hairstyle cloning, workout copying, voice, attitude, accessories, everything. And if you think only girls scream at BTS concerts, think again. From Seoul's underground streetwear culture to the sneaker resellers of New York, from gym bros in Tokyo to barbershops in Jakarta, there's a wave, an unseen but undeniable wave of male fans who don't just admire these idols, they want to be them. But here's the twist. Among the 7 icons of BTS, the appeal to male fans isn't evenly split. Oh no, some members pull in armies of boys trying to match their swagger, while others dominate more with their charm, sweetness, and romantic allure. So who tops the list? Who do guys copy the most? And why? Is it the cool older brother aura, the fashion-forward risk-taker, the gym inspiration, or someone so effortlessly stylish that even men can't help but idolize him? Today, we're going to dig deep into the rankings of BTS members based on the number of male fans who not only follow them but want to live like them. This isn't your typical popularity contest. This is about style resonance, masculine influence, the power to redefine modern male identity in the age of K-pop. We'll uncover moments when male fans queued overnight to get the same coat a BTS member wore just once. We'll talk about how some members accidentally created new male beauty standards with a single airport photo. And most shockingly, how one member unknowingly triggered a tattoo trend among men in Brazil after just one Instagram post. But before we spill the secrets, here's the question for you. Yes, you watching this right now, which member do you think gets the most male attention? Which BTS icon made you rethink how you dress, style your hair, or hit the gym? Think hard, because the answers might just surprise you. So, buckle up. We're diving headfirst into the stylish, emotional, and sometimes hilariously relatable world of male BTS stans and the 7 icons they worship. Coming up next. Number 7. Who just barely made the list, but still has an army of stylish male fans ready to prove the haters wrong. Let's get into it. Number 7. Jimin, the unexpected fashion risk-taker. Jimin might not be the first name that comes to mind when you think of male icon energy, but that's exactly what makes him such a surprising contender on this list. With his ethereal visuals, delicate voice, and often soft demeanor, many would assume Jimin's fanbase leans heavily female. But here's the plot twist. A growing number of guys, especially in Asia and Latin America, have quietly started looking to Jimin for their style inspiration. And once you really pay attention to his evolution, it all makes sense. See, Jimin isn't just about pretty boy aesthetics. He's about owning your look, pushing the boundaries, and being unapologetically yourself. Let's rewind a bit. During BTS's early years, Jimin was the abs guy. The one always flashing his toned body on stage, blending sensuality with raw performance power. That alone got a chunk of gym-goers and male dancers hooked. But as BTS matured, so did Jimin's image. He went from crop tops and open blazers to oversized streetwear, gender-fluid silhouettes, and even vintage runway pieces that looked like they belonged in a Paris fashion archive. And yet, he made it all look masculine. That's the Jimin effect. He blurred the lines between softness and strength. And suddenly, guys who once scoffed at feminine styles were buying pearl necklaces, oversized knits, and wide-leg pants, all because Jimin wore them with effortless swag. Now let's talk numbers and real-life impact. In South Korea, barbers have reported an increase in requests for Jimin-inspired hairstyles, particularly that iconic silver blonde Promise-era look. In Brazil, male K-pop dancers often cite Jimin as their main performance influence, praising his control, sharpness, and emotional expression on stage. Even in fashion circles in cities like Tokyo and Bangkok, boutique owners admit that certain outfits sell out faster when Jimin is spotted in them, especially from brands like Dior, Celine, and Haider Ackermann. Oh, and remember the 2023 Paris Fashion Week where Jimin appeared as a global ambassador for Dior? You better believe male influencers took notes. TikTok was flooded with how to dress like Jimin at Dior breakdowns for weeks. But perhaps the most endearing thing about Jimin's male fans is that they don't always shout about it. For many of them, Jimin represents quiet confidence, the ability to be soft but commanding, Stylish but humble, and always intentional. They respect his journey from insecure trainee to one of the world's most influential performers, and they resonate with his emotional honesty. Jimin cries on stage. He talks about pressure, body image, and self-worth. And that vulnerability? It connects. It gives men permission to feel, to express, and to see that strength isn't always about being stoic. So, while Jimin sits at number 7 on this list, don't be fooled by the ranking. His impact on male fans is deep, often personal, and definitely growing. He's the kind of icon who sneaks up on you. One day, you're just watching a performance, and the next thing you know, you're at the mall trying on a silk shirt, wondering if you can pull off that Jimin vibe. Spoiler alert, you probably can. Coming up next, number 6, the BTS member whose boyish charm made an entire generation of teenage boys start accessorizing and never stop. Number 6, Jungkook, the Gen Z alpha who turned boys into believers. Let's get one thing straight. Jungkook is not just a singer, he's a movement, a phenomenon, an entire visual era, and for thousands, if not millions of young men around the globe, he's the blueprint. From his tattoos to his piercings, from his gym gains to his insane Calvin Klein campaign, Jungkook has basically become the default mood board for Gen Z guys who want to be effortlessly cool without ever having to say a word. You think that's an exaggeration? Tell that to the flood of undercuts, eyebrow piercings, and Jungkook-inspired streetwear that's taken over Instagram, TikTok, and real-life street corners from Seoul to São Paulo. Now here's the wild part. Jungkook didn't ask to be anyone's style icon. He didn't try to be the cool one. But that's exactly why it worked. Because for years, he just did him. And people noticed. He was the youngest, the golden maknae, the one who evolved in front of our eyes. At 15, he was wide-eyed and shy. At 20, he was a beast on stage. And by 25, he was the guy guys wanted to become. Let's start with his style. Jungkook's fashion sense lives in that sweet spot between relaxed and intentional. One minute, he's in baggy hoodies and cargo pants. The next, he's rocking a see-through mesh shirt on tour, and suddenly, male fans everywhere are Googling how to layer like Jungkook. And don't even get us started on that iconic airport photo of him in all black, mask on, earbuds in, combat boots laced tight. It went so viral, people literally named it Jungkook Core. Fashion blogs in Japan and Singapore started doing deep dives on his aesthetic. Retailers noticed. And so did guys. They wanted in. And then came the tattoos. That was the moment the male fandom shifted from, I like this guy, to I want to be this guy. His hand tattoos? Instantly copied. His rather be dead than cool ink? Screen printed onto t-shirts and hoodies by indie brands. In the Philippines, tattoo artists said they saw a spike in requests for Jungkook-style designs right after his Still With You concept photos dropped. And when he performed at Global Citizen with that all-black sleeveless outfit, gym membership spiked. Coincidence? Not likely. But it's not just the surface. Male fans connect with Jungkook because of how real he is. He doesn't sugarcoat things. He talks about pressure, burnout, ambition, and even doubt. He trains hard. He works on himself. He disappears for months, then returns with a new skill or a new look, and that mystery, that constant evolution, it's addictive. It taps into something every guy feels deep down, the desire to grow, to level up, to become the best version of themselves. Jungkook doesn't preach that. He lives it. And that's why so many male fans follow him religiously, not just on Instagram, but in lifestyle. And yes, we have to talk about the Calvin Klein takeover. Because when those photos dropped, the internet broke. And guys, they took notes. Suddenly, the conversation shifted from, is it okay to like BTS? To, bro, Jungkook's built like a Greek god. How do I get those arms? Workout influencers started making Jungkook arm day routines. Fashion channels began breaking down how to replicate his all-denim look. The impact wasn't subtle. It was a full-on masculine rebrand. And what about the fans themselves? Scroll through Reddit, Twitter, now X, or Discord forums dedicated to K-pop, and you'll find something rare, male fans owning their admiration for Jungkook. No shame, no irony, just full-on respect. One user even said, Jungkook made it okay for me to care about my appearance without feeling vain. He made it feel powerful. That's not just influence, that's transformation. So yes, Jungkook lands at number 6 on this list. But he might just be the most replicated member of BTS by men today. Because at the end of the day, Jungkook isn't just a member of BTS. He's an archetype. The modern male who's tough and tender, mysterious but relatable, stylish and strong, and never afraid to switch it up. Number 5. Jin, the gentleman icon who made simplicity powerful. You might think elegance doesn't scream masculine idol energy, but Jin has rewritten that rulebook completely. He's the oldest BTS member, the worldwide handsome face that launched 1,000 memes, but behind that title lies something even more powerful. A quiet magnetism that's made men around the world rethink what cool actually looks like. Because Jin doesn't rely on trends. He doesn't try too hard. He doesn't flex. And yet, guys, everywhere from college kids to office workers can't stop copying his style, his mindset, even his posture. Why? Because Jin made classy cool again. Let's get into it. Jin is the kind of guy who walks into a room wearing a plain white t-shirt, straight-fit jeans, and loafers and somehow steals all the attention. He doesn't need ripped denim or flashy logos. His fashion is often minimalist, muted, timeless, and that's exactly why men gravitate toward him. In a world obsessed with standing out, Jin reminds us that confidence is the loudest outfit you can wear. That message? It's loud and clear to male fans across Asia, Europe, and even the Middle East, where traditional masculinity often aligns with Jin's composed, respectful energy. Take his airport fashion, for instance. No gimmicks, just well-fitted clothes, sharp hair, maybe a subtle designer piece like a Todd's bag or Boucheron ring. And what happens next? Online forums light up with posts like, "How to dress like Jin," "Jin-inspired capsule wardrobe," or "Simple but strong male fashion." BTS edition. Retailers from Seoul's Garosujil district to Paris boutiques noted that whenever Jin was spotted in a particular knit, cardigan, or tailored coat, male customers would ask for it by description. One shop in Osaka even reported a spike in beige trench coat sales after Jin wore one in a single Weverse live. And speaking of Weverse, his personality on those live streams? That's a whole masterclass in how to be effortlessly charming. He's witty without being arrogant, humble without being self-deprecating. Male fans constantly comment on how Jin gives older brother energy, not just to BTS, but to them. One fan even wrote on a blog, "I started following BTS because of my girlfriend. But I stayed because Jin made me feel like it was okay to be a grown man who likes pop music, eats good food, and smiles without looking tough all the time." But the influence goes deeper than just style. Jin represents emotional stability. He talks about family, cooking, video games, and even loss with a calm, grounded presence. That kind of emotional accessibility is rare and men are noticing. In fact, after Jin publicly spoke about his father's health and his own sense of duty during military enlistment, male fans in Korea started sharing their own stories on forums about how they related to that same kind of pressure to be strong for others. Jin doesn't just look the part, he lives it. He became the role model for the man who doesn't yell to lead. He just leads. And let's not forget his influence during his military service. While some idols step away from the spotlight, Jin's stoic yet humble demeanor during enlistment became iconic. Images of him in uniform circulated not just among armies, but in online communities for Korean men who saw in him a reflection of their own national experience. "He's just like us," many said. But better dressed, that relatability became part of the legend. And when he returned, older, more built, and still radiating that calm energy, male fans doubled down. His post-service Weverse photos in simple, elegant attire were flooded with male comments asking about his skincare, his haircut, his diet. Perhaps the most beautiful part of Jin's appeal is that it's timeless. He's not trying to be a heartthrob. He just is, and guys see that. They respect it. They want to emulate it. He's the man who knows who he is, doesn't compete, and still ends up setting the standard. In an age of chaos and flash, Jin is the calm center. And that calm? It's magnetic. So yes, Jin ranks number 5 on this list, but in the eyes of male fans who crave depth, elegance, and real substance, he might just be number 1. Coming up next. Number 4, the BTS member whose insane work ethic, artistic edge, and rebellious charm made him the ultimate inspiration for creative guys everywhere. Shall we go on? Number 4, Suga, the quiet rebel who became every creative guy's blueprint. There's a certain type of guy out there, introverted, artistic, maybe a little misunderstood, who doesn't quite relate to loud fashion or big stage energy. And yet, they found their idol in Min Yoongi. Suga isn't the member who shouts for attention. He doesn't show off his abs or flood Instagram with selfies. Instead, he lets his craft do the talking. And for male fans, especially those who write, produce, sketch, or code in quiet corners of the world, Suga is everything. He's the blueprint for the modern creative guy. Calm, focused, stylish in an I don't try hard way, and never afraid to go against the grain. Let's talk image first. Suga has always embraced a minimal, monochrome aesthetic, earth tones, baggy pants, simple jewelry. It's not flashy, but it's intentional. He wears clothes that breathe, that move with him, that make him look like a producer who just left the studio at 3 a.m. after making a masterpiece. And for a certain kind of guy, that's peak aspiration. In places like Berlin, Toronto, Seoul, and Stockholm, you'll find cafes and studio lounges where young men gather wearing oversized beanies, cargo pants, and vintage windbreakers, unironically calling it Sugacore. They're not trying to be idols. They're trying to be artists, and Suga gave them that permission. But it's not just about the style, it's about the energy. Yoongi's vibe is pure focus. He doesn't crave attention, but when he speaks, everyone listens. And that made him a role model for guys who aren't the center of the room but are often the backbone of the moment. When Suga performs under his solo name August D, he becomes a completely different force. Raw, aggressive, brutally honest. His lyrics tackle trauma, depression, loneliness, ambition, the dark corners of the male psyche that often go unspoken. And male fans feel that, especially those navigating their own silent battles. The global male fandom for Suga might not be the loudest, but it's loyal. In 2023, when Suga dropped his D-Day album and went on his solo tour, you could see them in the crowd, guys, in their 20 seconds and 30 seconds, standing quietly, rapping along to every word, fists clenched in solidarity. One fan from Argentina even said, "Suga taught me that it's okay to be angry, but channel it into your art. He's not just my idol, he's my therapy." Even in fashion and grooming, Suga's influence hits hard. His ever-changing hair colors, silver, ash blonde, mint green, have sparked waves in male beauty salons. In Japan, salons reported an uptick in requests for Yoongi hair, especially after his 2020 comeback looks. And let's not forget his watches. Male fans obsess over the understated timepieces he wears, like his Audemars Piguet or classic Rolex, because they match his energy, timeless, powerful, and not for show. Then there's his demeanor. Suga has a resting calmness that guys admire. He speaks thoughtfully, he listens more than he talks, and when he does talk, he drops life lessons like bombs. In one interview, he said, "Don't be afraid of mistakes. They're the foundation of your future." That quote got screen printed on hoodies by underground brands in Hongdae and Brooklyn. And you better believe male fans wear them like armor. And what about the studio culture? Thousands of young male producers have posted photos and videos of their home studios with captions like, "Building my August D zone." They admire how Suga turned his pain into art, his solitude into sound, and his quiet into influence. He showed them that you don't need to be loud to be loud. So yes, while Suga ranks number 4 on this list, in the minds of male fans who thrive in the underground, who grind in silence, who create in the margins, he's the one. The idol who made it okay to be a little mysterious, a little moody, a little deep, and still be absolutely, unapologetically powerful. Coming up next. Number 3. The fashion-forward force who turned global catwalks into playgrounds and gave stylish men everywhere a new god to worship. Ready to see who's redefining what male beauty looks like? Let's keep going. Number 3. V. The runway phantom who made high fashion a male obsession. Now this one. This is where things get dangerous. Because when we talk about Kim Tae-young aka V, we're not just talking about a K-pop star, we're talking about a global fashion tsunami. A walking aesthetic revolution. A man who can wear a scarf, a beret, and a pair of round glasses and have half the male population asking, "Wait, should I start shopping at vintage stores?" V didn't just change the way fans look at fashion, he shattered the rulebook for what men thought they could wear. And suddenly, museums of style across Paris, Milan, and even New York had a new centerpiece, him. Let's break it down. V's fashion isn't trendy. It's timeless with chaos. One day, it's 1,920 seconds jazz bar energy silk shirt, long coat, hair slicked back like Gatsby had a younger, hotter brother. The next day, it's borderline avant-garde. Asymmetrical cuts, unexpected colors, and accessories that feel like they were borrowed from an old European painter who had no idea he was about to go viral. And somehow, every look works. Why? Because V doesn't wear clothes. He commands them. He turns the sidewalk into a catwalk and the airport into a Dior campaign. And guys? They noticed. Hard. Male fans weren't just admiring Taehyung from afar, they were copying his every move. Thrift stores in Seoul, Tokyo, and Jakarta started reporting that pieces like loose brown trousers, turtlenecks, and long trench coats were selling out faster than ever. In Italy, a menswear blog called him the silent fashion disruptor, crediting him for a spike in scarf sales and the return of brooches in menswear. Yes, brooches. What other man under 30 could wear one and not only survive, but start a movement? Even brands caught on. It's no accident that Celine, Cartier, and even LV fought to have V in their campaigns, because they knew, once he wears it, it's no longer risky, it's aspirational, and this wasn't just for the female market. Men started looking at V as a symbol of elegance, unpredictability, and confidence that wasn't attached to hypermasculine stereotypes. He showed the world that a man could be gentle and fierce, soft-spoken and commanding, romantic and wild all at once. And male fans ate it up. Online, you'll find entire communities of guys, yes, guys sharing V-inspired fits. Reddit threads like, "My Taehyung weekday outfit rotation," or Instagram pages named after his iconic looks. Remember Tae in Paris? That phase lasted months. Men were suddenly experimenting with accessories, scarves, and earth tones. Barbers began offering the V-cut, that soft, middle-parted, slightly wavy hairstyle that screams museum curator meets modern prince. And let's not even get started on his influence on male skincare. Korean male beauty YouTubers repeatedly cite V's glass skin as the gold standard. One even said, "If Taehyung doesn't age, why should I?" But the deepest impact? It's psychological. V made men believe that fashion isn't about proving how masculine you are, it's about expressing how powerful your presence can be. He wears what he wants, how he wants, and when he wants. And that unapologetic freedom? It's addictive. It told guys who always felt boxed in by boring polos and safe jeans that it's okay to dress like art. That you are art. And let's not forget the numbers. When V posted his solo layover teaser photos in that soft vintage filter, the scarf he wore sold out in 17 countries. Not because it was hyped by influencers, because he wore it once. That's not influence, that's domination. So yes, V ranks number 3 on this list. But for the world of male fashion, he's their silent king, the icon who doesn't need to shout. He just walks into a room, turns heads, and leaves trails of guys raiding their closets, wondering if they too can wear velvet and still look like they own the universe. Now we're down to the final 2. Up next, number 2, the BTS member who gave men purpose, not just style. The one whose leadership, physique, and brain made him the ultimate male role model. Are you ready for the big shift? Let's go! Number 2, RM, the intellectual alpha who redefined what it means to be a man. Alright, here's where things get philosophical literally. Because Kim Namjoon, better known as RM, didn't just attract male fans through killer abs. Though, yes, those gym selfies did break the internet. He attracted them through identity, through meaning, through leadership, books, art galleries, and quiet power. RM is the kind of guy who can quote Nietzsche on Monday, hit the squat rack on Tuesday, and write a Grammy-nominated rap by Wednesday. And for male fans, especially those navigating manhood in a changing world, he became more than just a BTS member. He became a North Star. Let's rewind. When BTS first hit global waves, RM was the translator, the spokesperson, the thinker. He always stood with confidence in front of Western media, answering heavy questions with eloquence while the rest of the industry stumbled through broken English. For a lot of young men, especially international fans, this was the first time they saw an Asian man own a room in such an intelligent, articulate, and masculine way without being aggressive. It wasn't about dominance. It was about presence. And that kind of masculinity? Rare. Suddenly, being a guy who read books, visited museums, and listened to jazz wasn't nerdy anymore, it was RM core. In South Korea, book clubs started referencing RM's reading list. In Europe, male fans posted Namjoon-inspired museum outfits and recreated his photo logs from the MET or the Louvre. Instagram Reels started trending with "A day in my life if I were RM." Early morning coffee, weightlifting, poetry journaling, gallery browsing, topped with quiet train rides and lo-fi playlists. It was romantic, self-assured, and masculine in a whole new way. And then there's the gym arc. RM didn't stay the lanky brainiac. Over the years, he slowly built his body in silence. He never flexed it as a gimmick, but when those toned arms showed up in sleeveless shirts during the yet-to-come era, men noticed. It was a message. Intelligence and strength can coexist. And male fans responded. TikTok trainers started calling their arm day routines RM mode. One fitness vlogger even made an entire series titled Building Your RM Physique, blending gym tutorials with motivational BTS quotes. Because RM isn't just about looking strong. He's about becoming strong from the inside out. His fashion? Effortless, clean, sometimes rugged, often earthy, rarely trendy but always intentional. He shops like he thinks, minimal but meaningful. And that rubbed off on male fans, who suddenly began appreciating muted tones, heavy textures, and timeless silhouettes. Denim shirts, canvas jackets, classic sneakers Namjoon style became the uniform for thoughtful men who care about life's layers. And let's not skip his lyrics raw, reflective, real. In songs like Persona, Forever Rain, or Wildflower, RM speaks about identity, ego, burnout, love, and isolation. These aren't just catchy hooks. They're conversations with himself, with society, with the man he's trying to become. And male fans, many of whom struggle with their own quiet questions about masculinity and purpose, felt seen. They started writing poetry. They started thinking more deeply. One fan in India wrote in a forum, "Namjoon made me realize I don't have to be loud to be powerful. I just have to be aware." He also redefined leadership. RM isn't the flashy frontman or the mic-snatching captain. He leads with empathy. He listens more than he speaks. And that model of being a grounding force rather than a commanding voice resonated hard with male fans navigating leadership roles in work, school, or family. In one Reddit AMA, a 5-year-old man said, "RM is why I became a better older brother. He changed how I handle responsibility." And of course, there's the love for art and solitude. RM taught men that being alone isn't weakness, it's space for growth. He posts slow walks in nature, sunsets over water, his quiet reflections in notebooks, and makes them aspirational. In a world that pushes men to be busy, reactive, and performative, RM gave them permission to pause. So yes, RM sits at number 2 on this list. But in terms of male influence, he might just be in a class of his own. He's the scholar warrior, the poet lifter, the gentle king. He didn't force anyone to follow him. He just became, and that silent transformation inspired millions of men to ask themselves, what kind of man do I want to be? And now, we've made it. One last name, the BTS member who, against all expectations, tops the list of those most admired, copied, and followed by men. Coming up next, number 1. And trust me, you won't believe who it is. Ready for the grand reveal? Number 1, J-Hope, the street king who earned global male respect one step at a time. Surprised? You shouldn't be. Because if there's one BTS member who rose from being the most underrated to the most imitated by men, it's young Hoseok. J-Hope didn't just climb the ranks through flashy fame, he built his influence from the ground up, step by step, beat by beat, outfit by outfit. Until one day, guys across continents from Seoul skaters to New York dancers to Paris fashion students started dressing, dancing, and thinking like him. And that's not hype. That's legacy. See, J-Hope wasn't always the coolest one in the eyes of the casual observer. Early on, many saw him as the sunshine, the mood maker, the jokester. But behind that bright smile was a monster of discipline and a visionary of style. And the men noticed, slowly, silently, and then all at once. Let's talk streetwear. J-Hope's fashion DNA is street luxe. Think bucket hats, layered flannels, wide-leg trousers, rare Nike drops, and the kind of statement sunglasses that look like they belong in a museum. His airport photos? They weren't just BTS content. They were Manuel's blueprints for how to mix comfort, color, and chaos into something electric. And male fans copied everything. In Bangkok, resale shops would label oversized Carhartt jackets as J-Hope style. In LA, streetwear YouTubers cited him as their Korean plug. In Milan, GQ Italia literally called him the future of men's fashion. One article even titled it, "Why J-Hope Dresses Better Than 99% of Men Alive." But the fashion is just the surface. The real reason male fans look up to J-Hope? Work ethic. This is a man who trains like an Olympic athlete. His dance practice videos aren't just fan service, they're masterclasses. Guys who want to break into choreography or level up their street dance skills worship him. In Brazil and the Philippines, hip-hop dance crews have created entire J-Hope workshops. In Chicago and Berlin, professional dancers have said, J-Hope blends freestyle and form like nobody else. And that level of precision, drive, and swag? It's addictive to men who are tired of flashy talent with no grind behind it. He's a walking contradiction in the best way. Polite but savage, humble but elite, quirky but alpha. And male fans see freedom in that. He's proof that you don't have to fit a box to be powerful. That masculinity isn't about being hard, it's about being honest. Whether he's in Valentino at Paris Fashion Week or in ripped jeans rehearsing at 2 a.m., J-Hope moves like a man who knows who he is. And that kind of self-ownership, that's what every guy wants. And the numbers speak. His solo debut, Jack in the Box, may have felt underground to some, but to male creatives, it was canon. A no-skips album full of reflection, rage, experimentation, and swagger. Streetwear drops inspired by the album sold out within hours. His Lollapalooza performance? A cultural reset. Guys who had never cared for BTS were suddenly tweeting, "Yo, this J-Hope dude is a monster." TikTok blew up with male creators breaking down his stage presence like it was sports analysis. Because it was. It is. Then came the enlistment era. And this is where J-Hope went from icon to legend. No drama, no grand farewell, just discipline. Sharp salute, and the quiet confidence of a man who knows his story is still being written. Male fans posted, "If J-Hope can keep growing at 29, so can I." Some even joined the military in South Korea and said they chose their division because of him. That's not fandom, that's faith. So yes, J-Hope tops this list. Not because he shouted the loudest, not because he had the flashiest visuals, but because he earned the respect of men across the world. Through hustle, through art, through individuality. He didn't just inspire them to be fans, he inspired them to be better. And maybe that's the secret to J-Hope's influence. He doesn't just make men want to dress like him, dance like him, or perform like him. He makes them want to live like him. Fully, boldly, authentically. And there you have it. From Jimin's quiet confidence to J-Hope's street-style legacy, these 7 legends didn't just conquer music, they reshaped masculinity for an entire generation of men. Not by trying to be symbols, but by being themselves. So now the question flips back to you, which member changed the way you see yourself? And more importantly, who's next?